Hello, physio practice owners. If you want to know a very powerful hack when it comes to hiring great long-term staff to your practice that not many other practices use and how to do it at scale, then this is the episode for you. Hello and welcome to today's episode. It is called How to Hire the Best Staff Using Retargeting Ads. Now, this is something that we've developed, and I've done that because I've spoken to a lot of physio practices, and I keep hearing it's very, very difficult now to find great staff. And there's a lot of things you need to do that. Now, we have a lot of other podcast episodes in how and some of the things you might need to look at offering and creating in your practice to hire great staff. I encourage you to go watch them, but this is all about creating certain ads, right? Not just the ads on a job platform, but ads that, you're retargeting. You're retargeting the people, the quality people, right? Because without the people, you just can't grow your practice to that next level. So this is something that, 99% of practices don't use out there. And if you use it effectively, it's going to get more high quality long-term staff into your practice. Okay. So before we go on, let's have a chat about the problem right now we have with hiring great staff. This is what I keep hearing from practice owners a lot, right? And that is that, it's becoming more and more difficult to find great staff. All right, that's what I keep hearing, all right? And sometimes when you put an ad up on a job platform, it brings in a flood of applicants, but they tend to be low quality and unqualified applicants. There are very, very few great top quality applicants in that pool, right? And this can be largely because the best physios that you're looking to add to your practice, they may already have jobs, right? Or they may not be actively searching for more roles at the moment because they're very happy where they are. So what we are just about to have a look in this podcast episode is how to make sure that you can set yourself up to attract those patients. Those staff to your practice. Okay. Now, before I go on even more, the reason why it's difficult to attract great people, it's because the process of bringing in new staff to your practice hasn't really changed. It's the same model that's used over and over again. That is, you put an ad on an ad platform and that is it, right? And then you're hoping that they'll apply. You're hoping that, that ad will have everything that, they're looking for, and hopefully they will apply, right? So there's a few things we need to tweak in that method to make sure that you get the high quality staff, right, over and over again, so you can start to add a lot of staff very quickly if you want to. Now, why a traditional method fails is because when you put up an ad on a traditional job network, you're competing with hundreds of other ads. Now, I can almost guarantee you, from what I can experience, not many physio practices do enough research on what the competitors are offering to create the right ad, right? And it takes a lot of effort to do that if you do it that way, right? But doing the research takes a lot of effort, and then creating the right ad. And even then, you don't know if it's a right ad or not. What we're just about to cover today will give you a chance to not do all that research, but still give what your quality staff are looking for, over a period of time. We'll talk about that. And the other method is a lot of staff can depend on, word of mouth, right? People can refer by people that they know, but that's slow and unpredictable. If you want to add a certain number of staff every single quarter, let's just say, that's just not going to be reliable enough, all right? Because it's going to be unpredictable. And the other notion I hear is we'll hire when we need someone. But when it comes to hiring someone, there's a bit of lead time that you have to spend before hiring someone. So this method is something that will keep your practice in the top of mind of all those great staff that you want in your practice. All right. So what's the hidden opportunity when it comes to hiring? Well, if you really think about it, the best physios aren't hanging around in job advert networks, right? But they are online, right? These physios might already have jobs, so they might not be hanging around in job networks, but they are online, all right? So what we're going to be talking about is how to create retargeting ads that lets you keep your clinic in front of top talent. It's a very powerful hack that'll work not just when you put up an ad on a job platform and, that's literally the only time the person will see that ad, all right? This is a method to make sure that you keep on top of mind of all these applicants, 24/7, all right? Because even if they're not looking for a job right now, even if they're not ready right now, there will be at some point. And you need to make sure that you've been in top of their mind enough for them to consider you as a practice and a place they want to work. Okay, so how does retargeting work when it comes to hiring? Right, so the power of retargeting really is, these ads follow the potential your hires, the best people online, wherever online. These ads basically are created in a way that they are in front of these people that you want to attract, all right, 24/7, even if they don't want to apply right away. So what you're doing over time is getting more and more touch points, and you're creating trust on a regular basis. So when the time does come, when they're ready to join your practice, there's enough trust and enough touch points for them to feel comfortable and take that next step. All right. So who should you retarget? Now, firstly, what I want to say is whenever you put up an ad on your whichever job network or job ad network, you shouldn't just put the ad. All right. What you should be doing is put enough detail on that job ad network, but put a link in that job ad so they go to your careers page to find out all the things you want to find out. Because what you're doing that way, you need to make sure that you separate them from the actual job ad network and you get them into your ecosystem or your assets, which is your website. Okay. You don't want to give away all the details on that job ad network. You're going to do that on your website. The only way to do that is if they come to your website. That way you can capture them as somebody who's interested. And if you do that, you can retarget them. So what I'm trying to say is if you don't retarget them, if you don't have a URL on that job ad network, you're going to lose this opportunity of what I'm just about to share with you. All right. So never ever in an ad, job ad, just put a URL onto your website so they get to find out about it. Okay. And who else should you retarget? When somebody has come to your website, onto your careers page, let's just say, you can retarget for them, like I mentioned, right? Who else can you retarget? Are past applicants who you really liked, who you wanted to join your team, but they didn't, all right? But they were promising. You want to stay on top of them as well, on top of mind of them. And what you should be doing as a practice owner is creating a whole list of these people that were promising, but they didn't join for whatever reason. Have their name, email address, all that kind of thing, because you can use this. I'll share with you a bit later on. You can use this to retarget. All right. So what are the best retargeting platforms when it comes to hiring great staff? Well, Google Display Network ads, right? These are your banner ads that appear on your websites, all right? For example, you might go to Nike and look up a pair of shoes or something like that, and all of a sudden, across the internet on different websites, news websites, apps, and things like that, these banner ads and these messages show up about shoes. Those are retargeting ads, right? So Google Display Ads are a really great place to do retargeting ads. Another really great place is Facebook and Instagram ads, okay? So that it appears while you scroll. Another one is YouTube ads, all right? YouTube's owned by Google, right? You can have YouTube ads. And another one is LinkedIn ads. If you're looking to target senior business-minded people or like leadership positions, it's really great as well. Right? These are the platforms where people tend to hang out that you can really target, because these networks don't just work on that particular network. They have an affiliated bunch of networks just outside these channels that the ads can appear as well. For example, like I mentioned in Google display ads, those banner ads appear on different websites, news websites and apps and things like that. All right, you can tap into all that network. So how do you set these up for success? All right. Well, the first thing, like I mentioned before, have a careers page. And once again, if you haven't watched the podcast, watch the podcast and exactly what to put on that careers page to hire great staff. There's a podcast on that. I'd encourage you to watch that. All the things that you need to. All right. That's number one. And after that, you got to put your tracking pixels on your website. So tracking pixels for your Facebook and Meta ads. If you go to your Facebook ads manager, you should be able to get a Facebook pixel, get that code, put it on your website. The same for your Google Ads pixel. All right. So go to Google Ads. In Google Ads, you should be able to get a code, a script, just like the Facebook pixel. Put that in your website as well. All right. And it'll help for you to have a Google Tag Manager account onto your website as well. All right. And the other one is, remember, we're targeting LinkedIn for senior positions. So LinkedIn Insight tag, once again, in your website as well. So the pixels you need are Facebook pixel and Meta Ads pixel, Google Ads pixel, Google Tag Manager script, and the LinkedIn Insight tag. All right. Put them all on your website. So whenever somebody hits the careers page, you can use that information to target on all these networks and their affiliated networks. Okay. Step 2 is build your custom audience. So have a look at the people who visited your careers page in the last 30 to 90 days. All right. And you want to target specifically those people in Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google display ads, and LinkedIn ads. All right. So people, another custom audience is people who watched 50% of your, a hiring video ad that you created. You could have created a video ad on YouTube, right, about what your practice is all about, why they'd want to join your practice. Once again, all these things are covered in that special podcast that I mentioned earlier, right? If you haven't watched it, I'd encourage you to watch it because it'll tell you all about the things you should put into a video like this. But if you have somebody who's watched 50% or more of it, they are somewhat interested, and you can really have a custom audience who's done that. Okay. And another one is a lookalike audience based on your best employees. So right now you might have a bunch of people that you really, really want to have more of. You want to write their, create a list of them, name, email, phone number. All right. You want to have that. And then the other list is, remember, the people who you wanted to join your practice, but they didn't for some reason. All right. You want to have a list of that as well. All right. These are the custom audiences that you really, really want, so you can retarget ads. Step 3 is then creating the retargeting ad. Now, once again, I've covered this in that podcast episode of how to create a great careers page and what to use in it. But just to sort of give you a bit of a quick idea about it, so you can use real team testimonials. All right. So part of what we're doing here is, just like you have to do marketing to get a new patient into your books, you have to do marketing. All right. You have to appeal to the great staff, the top staff, to come and work at your place. Right. And one of the ways you can do that is have other great staff give great testimonies about the practice, and obviously have all the things that top staff are looking for within those testimonials as well, if you can, to make it a bigger impact. Another way to create perfect retargeting ads is to showcase culture and benefits of why somebody might join your practice. Not just salary, but why they should apply. Maybe you have professional development opportunities. Maybe you have future ownership opportunities or flexibility, time flexibility, all these reasons why somebody, why top staff might want to join a practice. You need to have them in your ad. Okay. So let's talk about now crafting high impact retargeting ads, right? So these are the best type of ads you can create when it comes to retargeting ads, right? So you got video ads, you got carousel ads. So video ads are, you can use that to, show behind the scenes of your clinic. all right, including those testimonials that I talked about, right, including the culture and stuff that I just talked about as well. You can use that. Carousel ads are, you can use that too. Carousels basically, especially on Facebook and Instagram, you can have a bunch of images that are in an ad that make up a whole ad, and you can highlight things like key benefits, and you can add some testimonials in there as well. Okay. Story ads. So Instagram and Facebook ads, stories for casual, engaging fuel. Once again, it could be sort of recording around the practice with, how great staff are really enjoying their time there. Once again, you don't have to have a professional crew doing this. Just your mobile phone is perfectly fine. And static image ads, big reasons why they'd want to join. Like I mentioned, not just salary. Salary is always going to help. Flexibility, times, future ownership opportunities, professional development, all the things that top people are looking for. You want to make sure you showcase them as well. And the budget, right? What you want to be doing is you want to be spending. So this is what we recommend, right? Especially when you want to hire people very quickly and lots of them. Facebook and Instagram, about $5 to $10 per day on these ads. Google Display, $3 to $5 per day. YouTube, $5 to $10 per day. LinkedIn, all right, 10 plus per day. LinkedIn tends to be a little bit on the costly side because it's a more relevant audience when it comes to hiring, all right? But this is what we recommend in terms of how much you should be spending, right? So I hope that was useful. That is a hack that 99% of practices out there do not use to get the right people onto their team. So if that's useful, head down to our website, physiomarketing.co. There's lots of episodes like these things to download as well. But if you're like most practice owners, you probably want somebody who's an expert in growing practices and growing physio practice and taking them to that next level. If that is you, I want to encourage you to go to our website, once again, physiomarketing.co, and book a call with us and we can talk about how we can do that for you. Other than that, thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.